Hi, and welcome to Basement Arcana's second episode of Behind the Screens. I'm Ben.
I'm Hui.
And I'm Skip, the best one of the three.
In today's episode, we are going to be discussing... What are we... I'll be right back. I'll be right back.
Being prepared.
Let's get into it.
You got your stuff now?
Yeah.
Good.
Being prepared.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's where we're at.
That's where we're at.
Where we're at.
Right?
We're prepared
okay,
now.
we're prepared now.
So prepared.
Okay,
right
so
now.
as a D&D player, okay, how do I be prepared to come into that? I mean, what do I need to do? I have nothing really to do, right? I can just show up.
No, there's a lot to do prior to coming to a session.
Explain.
And I think the first step is bring your stuff. Have a folder. Get it all prepared. Being prepared. Get it all into one place together. I mean, it's as simple as a folder, a binder, whatever it might be. Have your character sheet in there, your spell list, even if you have to like print out a page from the player's handbook, whatever it might be. But I mean, there's always
Sounds like a lot of work.
D&D Beyond. It's an app where all of your stuff is all in one.
Work.
The game's a lot of work. And
It is.
Like remembering your dice. Should I get down closer to this?
just stick it in your throat.
I just put it right down there. I know. The mic's picked up earlier.
Yeah.
So, all right. So I can identify from playing Magic is, being prepared is not just about like being physically present, which is one thing, is being present in the moment in the game, which can be hard sometimes when other people are doing things. We'll get to that. But like showing up to the session, you need to have your character sheet, whether that's digital or physical, and you need to have your dice. Okay. But that can't just be everything. That seems a little too easy.
Notebooks. Sometimes you can either have your tablet open to, perhaps you've downloaded a PDF of the player's handbook, or you have the hard copy of the player's handbook and you need to shuffle through and find your character's stats, print those out, copy them, whatever. If you need to go through and learn your skills as far as on a level by level basis, have those printed out. Have those at the ready. Get a notebook to take down copious amounts of notes.
Yeah, I mean,
about
one of
what's
the
happening in
best
in
things
your
you can
session.
do is being prepared for the session that you're coming into now is having notes on what happened in the previous session, which allows you to better prepare for what you know you're getting yourself into, your characters and your party is getting into that night.
I seem to recall on the last episode we brought up notes. So notes seem to be a recurring thing.
They are.
Every session.
Yeah.
Someone's got to do it.
Yeah. It's almost like if you take a lot of notes and other people make fun of you, and then later on down the line, you're like, oh, when did that thing happen? Let me just flip. Oh, look, I had that piece of information. Making fun of me for making my notes. Oh, yeah, there we go.
Yep. All of a sudden, the kid in the class that took copious amounts of notes is now the cool kid at the P&D table.
Yeah. Hey, little Johnny fuck around over there. Let me copy your notes, please.
Can I copy your notes,
I need
please?
to know what happened last session.
Yeah. All right. So, okay. So coming to the table prepared, that should be like kind of a no-brainer. You got to have your stuff because that's your character. Like your dice are your character. Your sheet is your character. The feeling of it is you on the inside, but like that's,
Usually
that's nice and happy and fun.
Yeah.
Usually
you'll
have you'll need your stuff. Usually there's going to be a resident dice goblin.
Oh, yeah. Always
Dice goblin. Explain.
Too many sets of dice.
Yeah.
Too many sets
And
of
when
dice.
you roll, you start...
It's never too many.
Yeah, there's
Just
never
let me
too
point
many.
it.
I mean, I like to have at least 3 to 4 sets of dice. Now, I don't have them strewn about like
I'm no
skippity
listen.
beep bop boop.
I'm no Laura Bailey.
No, Laura
I'm
Bailey.
no Laura
Like,
Bailey.
It's my dice is
But-
cocked. Well, I wonder why. You have 50 dice in your tray.
But typically, if one of the players continuously forgets their dice, I have a set
Yeah.
that they can borrow.
So
I just pick the ones that I use the least.
you want to have at least a set of dice, right? You want to have at least one set of dice.
At least.
What do you like? how many sets do you think you should have? Or do you think that you need full sets? Or maybe there's dice that are more commonly used, or maybe it is even across the board?
I mean, that's part of like kind of knowing your character. If you have a character that like typically, if your primary melee weapon is a D6, maybe just go to the store and grab a set of 6 D6s, you know, like rogues. Yeah. I mean, they're just 6 all over the place. But for like, it also comes down to level 1, you're not going to be dealing a whole lot of damage. So maybe the first 1, 2, even 3 levels, you can get away with just kind of playing with one set of dice and just rolling the same D6 2-3 times.
Yep.
But when you start getting up into like 5 plus, you start having spells like brain farting.
For
Fireball?
Like the necrotic damage. Inflict wounds.
Oh, yeah.
Inflict wounds at level 3 becomes a damaging attack that I think a cleric can use, and some warlocks maybe. In some cases, depending on what kind of subclass you chose. But off the rip, that's like 6d6, you know, at a low level. So then you're like, hang on, let me roll my d6 6 times.
Now it does seem that maybe it'd be advantageous to have at least multiple d20s, just for advantage or disadvantage.
Personally,
you don't want to
like
roll
me
those twice
and roll an insane amount of natural ones, and you want to fling one across the room in anger.
Yeah,
you want to get rid of the unlucky.
You need
dice.
an anger dice.
Yeah,
I think that's what it comes down to. You need an anger dice.
Now I also understand that it's really important to tell the difference between your dice.
Yeah. So one of the last sessions I ran, one of my players, and sometimes this will lead into keep a clear head during the game.
Keep a clear head, you know.
Anyhow, for whatever reason, he was like, "Man, I can't seem to roll higher than a 12." And at the end of this, I swear, it was the end of the 3 hours of combat. I look over across the table as he's about to roll his attack, and I'm like, "Hey, bub, that's a D12." And he's like, "Are you fucking kidding me? I've been rolling this the entire night."
He still hit on a couple of them. You know, he was rolling pretty high on those D12s.
12.
12, yeah. Plus infinity but that's just besides the point.
Just don't try to roll a nat 20 with a D12.
Yeah, it won't happen.
It
won't happen.
All right, so being physically prepared, I mean, that's an obvious. Like anything that you're going to do, you need to have the things prepared to, you got to bring the stuff with you. You got to have it. All right. Now, what about during play? I'm playing, okay? I've got my character sheet. I have all the things that I'm supposed to have.
Yes.
All right. How can I be a better player while I'm just sitting there at the game? I brought all my stuff.
Be aware of initiative order. Right? When it's not your turn, you got 2 or 3 people, maybe even just one person in front of you. Pay attention to what they're doing and what you might want to do. Flip through your spells, look at what they're doing and how you might be able to play off of that. And if anything goes awry with that plan, maybe have a little bit of a backup here and there, and just know.
Like having an idea what you want to do, even if that changes throughout the course of the time that you have to wait for your next turn.
Yeah. Yes. And that's part of it with being able to know, okay, I'm on deck. And that's the DM can also do that. Like, okay, Ben, you're up. Skip, you're on deck. Okay, now Skip knows that okay, I have about his round of combat or his action of combat to figure out what I'm going to do. And that, like you said, comes down to your spells, your abilities, but also make scenarios. If he does this, I will react with this. You know,
right.
If shit hits the fan and say you're a healer, I'll be like, okay, I'll use an attack, but if shit hits the fan or this monster deals a bunch of damage, then I will heal. Just set up some scenarios for yourself on what could possibly happen within this person's turn that'll determine what I do in my turn.
Now, to kind of get back to my my analogy with Magic, when I play Commander, so it's a multiplayer format, and I'll see people on my turn, I'll do all my stuff, and as soon as I pass turn, I have an idea. This is what I want to do. Here's what I have. These are my resources. This is what I have available to me right now. And then when it comes up, I know what those generally are, minus what I'm going to draw in that turn, which might change it, but for the most part, I have an idea, right? And then I'll see the person kitty corner for me. It's their turn. And they're reading the card. Like they're reading the card like they need to know what to do. I'm like, I saw the picture. I know what it does. I have an idea what I want to do with it. But I see people reading their cards and I'm like, how is this the point where you're trying to figure out what this card does and then decide whether you're going to use it? I'm like, I already knew what I was going to do before I ever got to my turn. How are you just like, you know what I mean? That's a frustrating thing for me. And, you know, if you're a Magic player out there, read your cards, know what they do beforehand. But I guess that's kind of like what you're saying is like having an idea. Yeah.
Know your
my
class.
high horse. But you want to know what it is that you can do, like what a spell is capable of doing, and have it ready. Because even if it comes to your turn, you're like, oh crap, what they just did completely thwarts what I'm going to do. I now have to rethink that. You still had some kind of an idea what you're going to do.
And that's part of just paying attention, being present, and just, okay, well, I have this amount of time to figure out something that I can do, and I'll set up three scenarios. If it's outside of those 3 scenarios, well, shit, you know, like then you can take that on at that point.
Right. Like if they attack, I'll attack with them. Oh, but if they get hit, then I'm going to be ready with a heal. And if the guy runs away, then I'm going to pull up my bow so I can hit him because I was using melee.
To attack, whatever it is.
The beautiful thing about these 2 games, D&D, Magic, or any other really like RPG tabletop game, you don't have to limit yourself to researching your character 10 minutes before your...
Wait, you don't have to... You can do more than just, like, during the session?
Yeah.
Wow.
So, what I try to tell
That sounds like DM work, though. That sounds like DM stuff.
I know I should be paying attention to everybody's character and what they can do at every moment.
As I world build and do everything else required for the next session. Of course.
But you should be able to, level by level, know what your character can do, right? You look into, okay, maybe on the off chance that we level up the next session.
Yeah, right. Look ahead.
Where am I going to go? Where am I going to take my level 1 bard and, you know, move on to level 2? You know, what
spells do I want to take? What abilities?
Yeah.
When you have the option, because some things aren't an option, you just get the thing at the next level, but others are an option, and it's what do you want to take? And I do this, and I don't know how, I will plan my character out to 20. Not that I'm ever going to get there, but I'm like, what do I want my character to become, and how do I get there along the way? I remember when I was playing a bard that I wanted to use illusions, but I couldn't take all the spells that I wanted. I'm like, well, when do I drop this one to pick up the higher power one, and how am I going to use that, and what lower level ones do I want to keep? Because maybe I have minor illusions, so that's good enough for whatever the next one is, but I want to keep the third levels. I can't remember them off the top of my head, but you know what I mean? Like you're deciding when you're going to lose and gain spells along the way before you've ever even touched it, because this is what I want to become.
I don't think so. That's awesome that you that early on know what you want to do with your character, and that's great, but it doesn't necessarily fall in the line with what other people are doing. Obviously, you get the metagamers and whatnot, but with my character Frick, Echo Knight fighter, I didn't necessarily know where I wanted to go with him, right? So within a few, I knew I wanted to be an Echo Knight. That's about all I knew. But once we got to the your fighting style, I realized this was probably after the first or second session with the character Bola, who was like that best friend that just gloms on, right?
Yep.
After a couple sessions, leaving that character behind in my homeland, I realized that that's my character. He ended up taking on those attributes of the guy who just wants to be everybody's friend, just buddy, and then he went on and he just decided he's going to do his best to protect everybody during combat, right? So I went with defensive fighting style, the protection fighting style, where I can impose disadvantage. I took Sentinel as the feat, so I can, try to keep,
So the vision of your character, like, this is what I want my character to become, and then taking abilities, traits, feats, spells based on that, which... I mean, I find myself often doing is like you can min-max and you can just like, all right, how do I deal the most amount of damage, et cetera, but you're speccing for a character build. Like, this is the character. Like, I could take Fireball deal a lot of damage. Or I could take some other third level spell that doesn't deal any damage, but has a narrative purpose, and you know, hopefully will actually be functional in the game. In some scenario, you'll be able to use those.
And I think that's what he was kind of mentioning about metagaming is with you plan all the way out to level 20, say.
Right.
And then metagaming, you're like, all right, if I do this, take those spells, I can maximize my damage, and then you kind of begin to drift away from the narrative and how your character evolves throughout the plot and the storyline.
Which is fine if that's how you want to play.
Yeah, like, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
Right. But you're letting the rules and the abilities decide this is my character is based on what is the most powerful thing, and then I mean, I imagine some players are just, I just want to go boom, boom, bang, bang, make things explode.
If that's what you want to do, there's nothing wrong with that. It's personally, I like to look a level or two ahead.
Right.
Especially since my character in your campaign is a sorcerer, I can only change my spells on a level up. So I really have to pay attention and think like, all right, this is where I see the campaign evolving. And I'm preparing for what may be the best spell choices for that next chapter of the story.
The point being, like, you're creating a character that you want to flesh out versus metagaming, min-maxing, or whatever. There's no reason why you can't be ahead of the curve and know where you want to go.
So either play style, you still want to, if I'm min-maxing, I want to be looking through my spells and seeing what is the best spell to take to get the, you know, how do I want to change them up, that kind of thing. Or if I'm just trying to tell a narrative, I still want to look ahead and see what abilities could I get to do that. For instance, if you wanted to be somebody that was deceptive, you might take the actor feat. You would want to take probably illusory script or some kind of, you know, trying to spitball off the top of my head, but the idea is solid, is that you want to spend time outside of the game thinking about the game. It's not just, it's not like a video game where you show up and like, when I turn the box on,
hit the start button.
I would even say, playing Minecraft, I remember, you know, when I first started playing, I'm at the job site because I work construction then, and I'm like, all right, when I get home, I'm going to build this, I'm going to get blocks, I'm going to do all that kind of stuff. And so I don't think it's any different than that.
Oh, it's not.
Is spending time on your downtime just thinking about what your character could do. I mean, I know I'm in the middle of like your guys' campaign and session, and I'm like, what do I want to do next? You know, we got those horses in yours, and the one got away, and I don't remember what happened to yours.
We fought some. The Vrock.
The Vrock.
Yeah, you guys fought
the
3 Vrocks, which I thought was going to be difficult, and you guys continue to blow my mind and just destroy things. Cool.
It wasn't me.
So, any final thoughts on being prepared? I think we covered a lot of stuff.
I think it seems kind of daunting. Like there's a lot of work that might be, you might look at it from an outsider perspective and be like, I don't think I want to play this goddamn game.
Right.
Yeah. Like, it is hurting my head right now.
Once you get into it, like you get your whole thing situated and you pay attention to your inventory and all that stuff. That's sort of side stuff in the beginning. But once you get your abilities down, it's really not that hard to look a level or two ahead and be like, all right, yeah, that's cool. I'm going to do that. That's how I want to go.
It's one of those things where it's like you kind of learn as you go. Because, especially as a new player, there's a lot of stuff to kind of keep track of. But, you know, if you have a good teacher, they're going to, don't worry about this, don't worry about that. Don't worry about these things right yet. Just focus on the couple things. Here's your main stat. That's the one you need to worry about.
Worry about that.
How you do this.
Also with that, like looking at your modifiers, I personally like to put my actual modifier in the large circle on character sheets. And my score on the bottom.
I have seen it done both ways. And I find, the modifier, like, nobody cares about the number. It's like, it doesn't matter what the actual number is. The modifier is the thing that actually matters.
Something as simple
add
as
your
that.
modifiers. Always add your modifiers.
I would also recommend, like, if you got a big old character sheet with a lot of stuff on it and you just need little pieces of information, just get yourself a note card, write down those little pieces of information so you can be like, this is what I need right here.
Yeah, spell save DCs. Sometimes when you're in a rush and you're in a hurry, you're looking at your character sheet, be like, oh, where's my spell save DC? Oh, where's my saving throw? And you start getting tripped up over yourself, and it gets you anxious. And next thing you know, you can't find it. Right. Like it's there, but you can't find it.
And there's also there's those inventory and like there's character management products out there, like the spell cards and those kind of things.
Spell cards.
I've seen them used. I haven't got them. I like.
I
pen and paper.
had the Ranger ones. Ranger ones were fun.
I know a Ranger in my campaign probably ran out of arrows like 5 sessions ago, but he's still firing them off. So
you can pick them back up, right?
You can pick them back up. You totally can.
Yeah, he's totally been doing that.
Yeah,
of course.
But
on the other hand, am a good boy and have been counting down, ticking away my arrows.
Do you want a cookie?
Yeah.
And it's
Actually,
hard.
no. Well, tomorrow.
It's hard for a DM to pay attention to that. You know, we have so much other stuff going on that to be counting down the amount of arrows that the Ranger in my group
DMs don't have anything to pay attention to at all.
Not at all. So when you have a question about what you can do, go to your DM immediately and say,
ask your DM to make your character for you. And then tell you how to play it. All right.
You just stay home at that point. The DM will play your character.
It'll become a DM PC.
And you're just an NPC.
Yeah.
All right. So I think that wraps it up today. Be prepared in life as well as for your campaign. Your DM will appreciate it. Your DM does a lot of work. The least you could do is know what you're going to do when it comes to your time to speak.
Yeah, I mean, DMs, we don't come to the session.
We're wrapping up. You're doing too much.
Yep.
And
if you're not prepared, I hate you.
Have a good night.
Later. I was going to do the quick thing where we were like, because we don't come unprepared. And then end it. That's what I was trying to do.
Well, let's do it right now and you can splice it in.
Okay, yeah, we could do that. Okay.
Somehow.
Ending number 2.
So yeah, I mean, we as DMs don't just come to the session without anything prepared. Anyway, have a good night.
We'll put that one in.
If you found this ending, you beat the game twice.
You beat the game twice. This is the second
This is
ending.
secret ending.